Good morning. All right, we are in Matthew 21. Well, we'll see how far we get. I'm just trying to get an idea of how much. I'm going to turn some lights on. It's a little dark in here. There we go. It's a little better, right? So, let's see here. In verse 23, now when he came into the temple, the chief priests and the elders of the people confronted him as he was teaching and said, "By what authority are you doing these things? And who gave you this authority?" But Jesus answered and said to them, "I will ask you one thing, which if you tell me, I likewise will tell you by what authority I do these things. The baptism of John, where was it from? From heaven or from men?" And they reasoned amongst themselves, saying, "If we say from heaven, he will say to us, then why don't you believe? Did you not believe him? But if we say from men, we fear the multitude, for all count John as a prophet." So they answered Jesus and said, "We do not know." And he said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things." Now, I believe I got a little reference here to Luke chapter 20, verse 6. I'm just going to flip over to verify it, but I believe it also mentions that they say that they are feared of being stoned. Yeah, for if we say from men, all the people will stone us, for they are persuaded that John is a prophet. So this gives you an idea of the predicament that they were in. They were afraid of being stoned if they gave one answer, and they're afraid of just affirming Jesus with the other answer, and then they were stuck. So, what do we do with this? Well, to start, I think we'll continue moving forward today, but I think this is a prime example of how Jesus, I want to say exclusively, but I don't want to maybe forget one example, but it's off the top of my head. I cannot really think of any places where Jesus responds to the critics who are trying to trap him with straightforward answers. He typically responds to their questions with more questions. Charlie Campbell with Always Be Ready Ministries, great apologetics guy. He put out one of his lectures, a DVD, get stream it or whatever, on responding to the critics. And he gives 5 questions that you can respond to critics' questions with. And it's a great help because, in short, he says that, not everyone needs to be the answer guy. I did a Q&A Sunday night. It was great. Answered a lot of questions. And some of them were tough to come up on the spot with answers for. But, it's what I do. So I was able. But not everyone is called to that. In fact, relatively few people are called to be able to give answers like that so quickly. So what can you do? Maybe this will turn into the exclusive teaching today because it's a good lesson just by itself. It is responding to skeptics and hecklers with questions and not trying to always give a great answer. Before I even give you the examples, let me just give you the scenario. Oh, I bumped the camera. Let me give this scenario here is, if they ask you a question and they're a skeptic or a heckler, do they really want the answer? Or are they, in their mind, proving why you're dumb, the Bible's dumb, God is dumb, and there's no answer for these questions? You could give them an answer, and they're probably not going to receive it. They're probably not going to take that and actually, "Oh, I guess you're right." They'll probably dismiss it or come up with some kind of an excuse of why it doesn't matter. So what can you do? Well, what I would advise is putting them on the spot. They're the know-it-all, so make them answer the questions. I don't have Charlie's 5 questions memorized, but I usually just fall back on just a couple of them. And probably my favorite is, well, what is an example of that? Or what evidence do you have of that? Maybe you guys could help me come up with a couple scenarios. But you guys, when someone says, well, the Bible's been changed. Perfect. Now, you could begin your defense and showing all the ways that the Bible hasn't been changed. You could bring up the Dead Sea Scrolls and manuscript evidence, and you could, or just ask them, what evidence do you have that the Bible's been changed? My favorite, where? Where has the Bible been changed? Now, they don't have an answer for that. At least 99% of them don't. I've had people who maybe actually had some examples that they thought were changes, but most people just say that. Well, the Bible's been changed. The Mormons, they will come to your door and they will teach you that plain and precious truths have been taken out of the Bible. And it's oftentimes almost hilarious to watch the young missionaries respond when you ask them, what has been taken out? Or, so what evidence is there that something's been taken out? Other than the Book of Mormon tells them so. It's a couple of places in First Nephi. So the catch is you can respond to their questions with questions of your own. I mean, I don't know. Right off the top of my head, I'm not coming up with all these skeptic questions right now, but that's often the case. When people are trying to put it on you to be the know-it-all of everything, just kind of ask them where they're coming from and put the burden and responsibility of responding back onto them. So with Jesus, they were asking where his authority came from. Now, if he told them, I am God incarnate, would they have received that? Probably not. But when Jesus puts the authority back onto them, puts the burden back onto them, they look like fools. And that's something that we, dare I say, want to do. The heckler, the skeptic. I'm not talking about people trying to get sincere answers to their questions. Sunday night, there were some tough questions that are in our Q&A, and people had real questions. So we answered them. But when a skeptic comes and starts, shooting off things from their mouth, well, they're not looking for sincere answers. They're just trying to make Christianity look bad. And so honestly, making them look foolish is a good thing, because it shows any bystander how foolish their mindset is, how foolish it is to question the things of God. And so, yeah, man, I wish I had some more examples. I know Charlie always, he had a bunch of examples in that video, but you should check it out. alwaysbeready.com is his website. And, I know that Responding to the Critics, I believe, is the name of the lecture. I think you can even listen to it for free. You can come to the church library and you can check out a DVD if you'd like. But all that said, yeah, be like Jesus. That's a novel idea right there, huh? Be like Jesus. When people are going to say silly, skeptic things about Christianity, respond with questions. And so, yeah, that's it in short. I need a list of critical questions that I could have used these examples on. But usually it's going back and asking, what would make you think that? What evidence do you have to support that? How did you come up to this conclusion? And it's those things. You're pretty much, though, going back to them, making them state the evidence of where they came up with their critical question. And oftentimes they are just kind of out of nowhere. So there you go. Again, if I prepared, I would have my list of heckler questions I could have done. So maybe next time I'll have some heckler questions ready. I think that's it for today, because it's a good lesson. And honestly, it's one that I think every believer should be well versed in. When someone asks a heckling question, even when I know the answer, I oftentimes think this is a better road to go down. And I will do this instead of giving the answer that I could have given, because I think it's actually better, in fact, to show them the foolishness of their thinking rather than to simply give them the truths. I believe this would fall under casting our pearls before swine, as Jesus said. It's like I could give them the truth, but they're just going to trample on it. So I'd rather make them realize the foolishness of their thinking. So there you guys go. God bless. Have a great day. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7:30.